We are back with another episode of the Todd Durkin IMPACT Show, and we are having a first today. Yes, I am sitting in the heart of Fitness Quest 10. I am sitting in the roots, right smack in the middle, where for 20 years I've trained clients and athletes. Yes, it's my first podcast episode right smack in the middle, and I've got 4 special people who've been doing an internship in the midst of this pandemic, and they're graduating. So happy graduation on the podcast, everybody. Yeah, we've got a graduation party going, and this is going to be a fun one. We're going to go around the horn in just a moment, and they're going to have the opportunity to ask yours truly Q&A, some questions that they have, but you got to get to know them. They're very special people. As a matter of fact, for the first time ever in our internship, we have 3 military veterans, so this is unique and special. I want to give a quick shout out to all of you listening in right now. I don't know if you're working out, if you're walking, if you're in a car listening, if you got your kids in the car, but thank you for all of the amazing feedback that we've been getting. The team and I scour the podcast reviews, and it's an honor to hear your comments, so thank you very much. I believe you're going to get great value out of today, so without further ado, welcome interns. Yeah, let's go around the horn. You're going to have an opportunity to hear from them, and they're going to have some questions. So first off, we got Alex, Phillip, and Josh, and Janille today. So Alex, real quick, introduction about yourself.
Yeah, so as he mentioned, my name is Alex Andranovich. I'm currently 21 years old. Been into fitness and sports my entire life. Been training at Fitness Quest since about 2015 or 2016. So
Yep.
I've seen a few trainers come through this place and go.
7 years, though, you've been here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved it. So yeah, pretty much I went to Poway High School, local. Went to University of Oregon, played baseball there for a little bit, and then just came back here and kind of been spending most of my time around Fitness Quest as much as I can.
And there's a running joke amongst our trainers that your biceps are bigger than Jeff Bristol's. Is that true?
That is true.
It is true.
It is true, yeah.
And your whole family trains here, by the way.
Yeah,
so
yep, they all do.
Absolutely. So you guys are a family, truly, on that. Alex, welcome to the show. All right, Phillip, introduce yourself. Very special here.
My name is Phillip Autele, born and raised in American Samoa. I landed here in San Diego back in March 22nd, 1997, and I've never left. I have
What
3
brought
kids.
you here?
The Navy. This was my first duty station. I got here, I didn't like it, but then ended up loving San Diego.
How did you not like San Diego?
I don't know, because it was far
You
away.
were in Samoa then, again. It's a nice place.
Yeah, so I preferred Hawaii because it was, it was island life. But when I came here, it was like it just stuck on me, and then I never left. I have 3 kids, all boys, and 1 wife. So
1 wife. That's a good thing. Good. You learned something in the internship. Let's keep it to 1 wife. Good. How old are the boys?
20. Jenkins 22. Fano is 20, and Devin is 17.
Oh, so they're getting close to all out of the house here.
Oh yeah.
What'd you do in the Navy?
I was a machinist mate. Like I worked down in the engine room with the engines and producing water and electricity, stuff like that.
And you served for 20 years, is that right?
No, for 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
So why did you do the internship?
I wanted something new. So, and this was like a great opportunity. I visited here before, like in one of Professor Durkin's classes, and I loved the atmosphere.
That would be my wife, by the way, not me. My wife, Melanie, is a professor. Or he comes from Southwestern College. Okay, good. You're like, wait, does Todd now get called the professor? No. Okay, that's Melanie. So, yep.
Yeah, so I came here, and the energy was pretty awesome. It was kind of intimidating at first, especially like when I watch your podcast and how you are. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to be a good fit. But Professor Durkin and Professor Platt was like, no, it'll be a great fit. And when I came here and I saw like how nice of a community it is, it's more like a hangout for like the grown-ups. So it was like,
I see. I'm getting to know. Okay.
Yeah,
so
so
my
it was, like,
energy
awesome.
was intimidating. Is it intimidating now?
not anymore.
Good.
Like now that I've been around like Fitness Quest 10, it's like everyone shares the same.
I love it.
Same energy.
Okay. Good. Josh, you're up. What do you got to say, Josh?
My name's Josh King. I'm about to be 33 years old. I'm originally from the Pittsburgh area and former Navy diver. I served for 8 years. And
Thank you for your service.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. Yes, former Navy diver, served for 8 years. Then once I got out, I continued to dive for the government as a commercial diver, so fixing ships, submarines, salvage, stuff like that.
That's all.
Yeah.
Fixing submarines,
That's no
salvaging
big-
ships. That's
So any of you listening, anyone listening needs a submarine fixed, I'm your man. But no, then I had a pretty serious accident after that, and it left me not wanting to continue down that path. So I've been in love with fitness since I was like 12 years old, trying to push weight in the gym, not very successfully, but ended up here, and I'm currently a student at Southwestern, and Professor Durkin, like Phillip said, she turned me on to coming out to Fitness Quest 10, and it's been fantastic, and yeah.
Shout out to my wife getting 2 interns.
Big ups. Big ups to Melanie.
All right. That's good, Josh. Very good. All right. Next, Janille.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janille Leslie. Born in Jamaica. From Jamaica, I ended up in New York, and I was there for 12 years before I joined the Navy, Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn. In the
Shout out New York.
Joined the Navy from Brooklyn and served 20 years. And my last 10 years, definitely, it was a pleasure. My last 10 years was here in San Diego. I didn't think I was going to be here in San Diego for 10 years, but I did. And I was just trying to figure out what to do after the military. I wasn't sure what to do, and I literally took a 2-year sabbatical for trying to figure things out. But I've always been in love with fitness, always. And this, again, being in Melanie's class, Todd's wife, we came up here, and the energy, I remember you talking to us, and I remember Jeff talking to us, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool. And being in the internship and hanging around here, like Phillip said, yes, it's a hangout for grown-ups. But not just that, it's just that the trainers, you know, they train their clients, they're serious, but then they're having fun with their clients and with each other. You know, we're silly, we're funny, it's just really an amazing place to hang out and be here. So it was just, I was just amazed and absolutely loved the fact that I could be a part of this internship this year. Just amazed. Absolutely.
Well, you guys have done a great job, and I thank you for that. Going back to the beginning of your internship, I don't know, but this is, as I mentioned, the first podcast that I've done up here in what I call the Roots, right here where I sit. This is where it all started. I had no clients, no money, no business plan. And I had refurbished carpet. It didn't have this beautiful rubber floor where I sit. You may be listening, not watching, but everything was refurbished equipment. There was carpet, and it certainly didn't look like this. And we did not have downstairs in the lower facility. And starting out 20 years ago, you have a dream to start out. And I had a dream to change people. It was never about money. It was always about helping and serving people. To your point, Janille, I didn't know what I wanted to do, honestly. I didn't dream of being a trainer or being a business owner 20 years ago or 30 years ago. I knew I wanted to help people. I didn't know if that was as a doctor. I didn't know if that was as a physical therapist, a chiropractor, a teacher, a coach. I just knew I wanted to help people. Well, in the last 20 years, I've been able to combine that with what I do. And today, as we have everyone here gathered in the Roots, this sacred space, there have been thousands of people's lives who've been changed in this facility, this studio right here, which started as 2,000 square feet, grew to 3,000 square feet, and then in 2006 became an additional 5,000 square feet, which now we have 8,000 square feet total. That was risk, it was hard work, it was sacrifice, it was having the right people around you. We didn't have internships in the beginning. As a matter of fact, I had Melanie, AKA Professor Durkin. I had the pup, Sid, who's still pictures on the wall. Because when you're starting out, it's hard. People think, oh man, you got it all. Man, it's a lot of work. Because where I sit, I know the toil that it took. I knew the hard work that it took. And, as you guys open up your questions later on, I want to come up here because sometimes starting out, I don't know sometimes, and whether you've been working for 20 years, you've had other careers, many of you have on this. Alex, you're starting out on this. I think one of the things that's crucial is the work ethic. If you want to be a trainer or you want to be a coach, you've got to be salivating to coach and train people today to change lives. You must be salivating to change lives. There's too many people now who want to get into this industry that aren't salivating to change lives. And I say that because it's no different 20 years later now. It's not about the facility. It's not about the studio. I used to say you could train people in a parking lot and change lives. Isn't it interesting? Where we train now? We're training in parking lots. This isn't even open. Downstairs isn't even open. We're in a dang parking lot changing lives. I said that 20 years ago. And here we are. We're sitting in the Roots. And I wanted to share that before we got started because as you wrap up your internship, there's always emotions around something that you start and that you know where you came from when you went into the military, when you're starting out your career on that. Know that there's no easy path. There's no easy streets to where you want to go. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be difficulties. There's going to be times where you don't know how you're putting food on the table. Sometimes people only see the glitz. They listen to a podcast like, oh, he's got it all together. She's got it all together. And you don't realize the sleepless nights that it's going to take to get to you want. You got 3 kids. You want to put food on the table for the kids, and you're like, they don't see the weekends or the evenings or the early mornings, the sleepless nights on that stuff. So know this, if you're salivating to change lives, then this industry right now, this world right now needs great trainers and coaches to show up. This world needs light. This world needs people to show up. And trainers, coaches, this is not a time to bow out and to not train and change lives. This is a time to show up. And I don't care if you're in something very, very humble, if you're in a beautiful facility, or you're in a dang parking lot. This is the time to shine. So welcome to the Roots and where it all started. Tell me about your intern. Did you have a good internship, Janille?
This internship
What'd you get out of
was
it?
amazing. I loved the field hockey, the team right now. They're just amazing. And for me, my greatest joy from this was I never was into football ever, but being on like literally it was just about Super Bowl and touchdown. That's all I know about football, like literally. And being out there on the field with these athletes, I just gained a bigger, greater outlook for football. There's this dance between the quarterback and each player. It's like this. It has me looking at, like, I'm ready to watch football now whenever that is.
Yeah,
because
so am I.
It's just that was like my biggest thing. I got to love something, to see these athletes on the field just fine tuning their skills, and it just made me even like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of this even more, like literally.
Well, the second day when you showed up with cleats on the field, because one of the athletes said, Janille, you need cleats, and you showed up with cleats, I was like, I like this girl.
I did.
I like this girl a lot. So you did a great job, not only on the football field, but with the field hockey girls and all of our clients and getting to know them on that. Fantastic. Josh, how about you? Highlight of your internship experience, anything that you learned?
To be honest, the highlight has to be, I've always wanted to be a trainer, but I was never really ready to be a trainer until I came here. Something about this place flipped my switch to the point where you were saying you have to want to work for people and not have people work for you. It's not about money. It's not about, the certs, the letters after your name, anything like that. It's about coming in. This place is a community, and man, it really took me away from day one. It was just the trainers give you a longer leash than you would at other places, like getting to work with the field hockey girls, going to watch you with some of the professional athletes. It's phenomenal. It really makes you want to come to work for the clients and not just because it's a job, not because it's just normal 9 to 5. Like, I'm ready to train people to help people better their lives, whether they're kids, older clients, just average Joes, professional athletes, whether I work in a school, cancer patients, anything. I'm ready to.
I love hearing that passion.
To take that.
20 years ago, that's when I was like, I will help anyone. I don't care, overweight, not in shape, athlete, non-athlete, obese. It doesn't matter. If you had a breath, I wanted to help you. And when I started 20 years ago, I didn't feel adequate either. I was like, dude, can I train and change people's lives? Like, do I have the education? It was head trash. Like, you may feel sometimes like, I don't know, I'm too young, or I don't have experience in this. Get over that head trash. We talk about snapping the band all the time. Like, because Donna Dickinson, my first client, she actually brought me what was called a VHS tape. I was about to say DVD, but DVDs weren't out yet. A VHS tape on Swiss balls. It was Paul Check. It was a Paul Check. I was like, what's this round ball? And then Dave Weck brought me a Bosu. And I was like, what's this? What do you do with a Bosu? What's it? And I learned then, like, wow, I got a long way to go. But it was never about the education. And you know, even though I had degrees, and whether it's an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, listen, I've hired a lot of people who have a lot of education, including master's degrees and even PhDs, that were absolute duds, because they couldn't relate to people. I've had people that don't have degrees, but they have amazing people skills, who have the desire to learn, that white belt mentality we talk about all the time, wanting to learn all the time. Those are the people who typically not only last the longest in this field, but also change lives, because it's about the client. It's about, you know, changing people's lives versus, you know, the accolades, the degrees, the certifications. So nothing wrong with degrees and certifications. I have them. I love them, right? I needed those things that are hanging on the wall to justify for my own confidence. But let me tell you what. The last time that I was asked what my degree was I don't even know if I've ever been asked what my degree was in. Like, you don't even know what my master's degree was in, right? So it's about the desire to change lives, right? So remember that. Keep that passion up on that, Josh, and great things are going to happen. Phillip, what'd you learn? What was the biggest takeaway from your internship experience? And we'll go Q&A after that.
Getting to know the clients. Like, I feel like being a trainer is very important. Like, you're the bridge between, you know, people and, you know, like health, because, you know, doctors can say whatever they want, but people are not going to carry it out. So it's up to the trainer to kind of like, hey, like, you know, this is how you can accomplish this stuff, right? So it's good to have like that relationship with the clients, and I got that here. It's like you guys are all, you know, everyone's like genuine. We're really wanting to help like the clients who, you know, like get their health back on track, and I love something that Professor Durkin said. It was like it's like slow to hire but quick to fire. So I like that, because now I apply that to my life. So any big decision that I had to make, I'll take my time on it. But when I see it's not working, like, I'll just pivot. Like, no questions. Like, I'm not gonna be too attached to anything. I just need to get stuff done.
Good.
So probably like the highlight of being here is like meeting Kat Zingano. I know everybody's all big on Drew Brees and, you know, all the football players, but I'm an MMA guy. So shout out to Kat Zingano. Like, good luck on your fight in September.
Kat Zingano, there you go. You don't follow her, Bellator fighter Kat Zingano. She's been training here for a long time now. So shout out to Kat. Fantastic. I love it. All right, Alex.
So as we mentioned earlier, I've kind of been around Fitness Quest 10 maybe a lot more than some interns necessarily would. So when it first started and I was talking to Jeff Bristol for a while, we were going back and forth seeing if this thing was going to end up happening or not. I was kind of getting bummed out because we had been talking about it for several months, and then with everything going on, it just started going downhill, and it was looking more and more like it wasn't going to happen. And then the day he hit me up and told me it was going to happen, it kind of like made my summer, and I was like, sweet, like I've been trying to do this for like a couple of years. The time is right. And then like I was like, something has to come up, of course, that was going to prohibit this from happening. So I tried to take a different approach. I kind of know what Fitness Quest 10 is about, the community, how the trainers like to do things with their clients. I'm familiar with that. So I tried to pick something out. I wasn't really sure what it was going to be in the beginning, but I kind of picked up a new sport. I got a chance to work with Jesse a lot with, you know, he trains hockey guys a lot. Right. So I've been sort of into sports my whole life, as you know, but not hockey so much. Not too common of a thing around here, but I started working with him one day about every 2 weeks, and then it turned to what was last week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, training with his hockey guys, early morning, 7 a.m. workouts, and it was awesome. I basically learned a new sport, started watching it on TV whenever it was on, coming in the next day, talking to the hockey guys, oh, I saw this, I saw that. So it was just kind of a cool new thing that I was able to, figure out and have something to talk to the clients. Like everybody mentioned, it's all about getting those relationships, getting the clients to trust you and look forward to coming to the workout. Not, I got to go work out, it's so early, but hey, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. We're going to have a good time, get some work in, and just have a positive atmosphere. not a better place than Fitness Quest 10
I
too.
love it, Alex. That's fantastic. And, Jesse has created a great niche here. I always say the nicher, the richer, right? So there's a lot of folks who have now come in for hockey. And believe it or not, hockey believe it or not, if you're listening back east, hockey is very popular in San Diego. And we've got dozens of young athletes, including some NHL guys that are training here at Fitness Quest 10. You have the opportunity to work with them, Alex, on that. And Jesse, that's because his passion of where he comes from number one, Pittsburgh, and then playing college hockey. But if you have a passion for something specific and niche, you don't well, no one plays hockey out here. Guess what? There's a niche for anyone. So you got to eventually start with a wide net and then narrow it on down from there. So let's start the Q&A. So this is open mic. This is your opportunity with anything you want to ask me on anything that I was not able to address throughout the internship. This is like a graduation party. So we're going to just make it out. I'm going to start with you. Any burning questions that you have, we'll have a little fun with this.
Okay, so
everything's on the table, by the way.
if somebody were to ask you, maybe come up to you, whether they've had experience in the fitness industry or not, sports-wise or not, so they could be, several examples. They played sports their whole life, or, hey, I see the gym's open near me. I want to kind of get involved, and the next thing you know, they hit you with a question like this. So,
okay.
Say they want to, they see Drew Brees in here, they see whoever, hey Todd, I loved what I got to do last week. I saw these guys working out. It just gave me that drive inside. I really want to maybe someday spend a lot more time with these guys. So maybe they hit you with the question like, hey, if you were to tell me 3 pieces of advice that you could give me if I wanted to one day become a trainer for Drew Brees, A, B, or C, any sports athlete. I mentioned to you earlier, we were talking about Lawrence, a former trainer. Now he's up in Beverly Hills.
Lawrence Ng. Yep.
Yeah,
Lawrence
doing his thing, training all these guys. He started at Fitness Quest and built up his client base, and now he's doing his thing, like I said. So what would, 3 pieces of advice, per se, you would give to somebody if they wanted to say, hey, I wanted to eventually do that one day?
Yeah. Well, great question. If you want to train athletes, pro athletes specifically, because I get that question a lot, know this. Number one, it took me 3 years to get my first pro athlete. 3 years. Some people want their pro out like now. I want to get into the industry. I want to start training pro athletes. I trained right here in the studio in the Roots for 3 years. And one day, there's a gal doing Pilates who said, I have a husband who's got a bad back. Could you help him? I didn't know who this woman was. I said, absolutely, I could help him. She brings her husband in, and in walks through that door right there was a 6'6", 330-pound man. And I was like, oh my gosh, who is that dude? Right? I was like, this dude's got to play football. Sure enough, that was the starting left tackle for the San Diego Superchargers. That's right, San Diego Chargers. That was Vaughn Parker. Vaughn Parker was the leader of the line. I do body work right here in this room on him. Session number 1, Vaughn Parker breaks my table in half. I'm like, oh, shoot. My first pro athlete, he breaks the table in half. It was a good table. It wasn't a cheap table. I'm like, next thing I know, I break out my, Thai massage techniques. I take off my shoe. I'm like, doing this Thai work. He's like, Todd, this is amazing work. I'm like, thanks. I just watched the VHS tape last week on Thai massage. And next thing I know, he's like, man, this is great stuff. I'd love for you to come down and work with the team, the Chargers, on Mondays after our games. I'll talk to our athletic trainer if you'd like to do that. That was my in, because I became the sports massage therapist, not everyone knows that, to the San Diego Chargers for 2 years. That's where I met LaDainian Tomlinson. That's where I met Drew. That's where I met these guys. And it was the day after that season that LaDainian Tomlinson, LT, came in and started training right here where I sit. This is all we trained 80% of the time, right here in this space. We didn't have any fancy equipment, but it was a desire and a will to be the best to ever play the game. That was his desire. A couple weeks later, he brought in Drew. Drew was wet behind the ears. He was, 22, 23 years old. Now we're going into year 18 together, year 20 in the league. But why do I share that? Is because it took me 3 years to get that first athlete. You got to grind. Lawrence Ng, who's now in LA, he came here to Fitness Quest 10, and for, I don't even know, it was like 7 years, he took anyone and everyone, starting with the Little League kids. He worked with anyone, and he worked weekends, and he worked late in the evening. He was doing 40-plus sessions a week, and he wouldn't say no to anybody. And and I'd give them, athletes that were trying to make it, that I didn't just hand them my pro athletes right away. That trust had to be earned. And Lawrence is now doing amazing things up in LA. So the first thing I'd say, if you just ask for 3, get experience. Get experience. And you guys are already building your experience. If you want to train, you get experience working with pro athletes. You were on the field. You get that experience. Number 2, you keep that white belt mentality. You keep learning. I don't care if you've been in the field for 20 years, if you're new, you've been in for 35 years. Things are changing quick. You have to keep learning. There's always more to learn. The more I learn, the more I realize I got a long way to go to keep learning. And even though I'm teaching now, one of the best ways to learn is to teach, right? And I guess it comes in to the next one. The third thing I'd say is you got to connect. You got to connect with other people who are doing what you want to do. You have to have a mentor. You have to connect with, you go to live events. Yeah, there'll be live events again. You can bet your bottom dollar there will be live events because let me tell you, when you're rubbing elbows with other trainers, coaches, industry leaders, associations, then you're learning and you're networking. Your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. It'd be really easy for me just to open this up and stay in here, and I built a good business, but I never got to network with the people who would really help my business and my career grow. So attend live events. Keep learning. Keep that white belt mentality. And I think if you get experience, if you keep learning and you attend events, right now many of them are virtual, so show up and learn and reach out. It's easier today with social media to DM someone and to connect with someone on that. But I'd say, Alex, those would be 3 things that I would recommend. That help?
That helps.
All right.
That helps a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Phillip, you're up. Good stuff right there. Good question, Alex.
All right. So my question is with the newbie clients, right? Like a lot of them, like they come in, they already kind of know like what they want. Like I want to bench 315. I want to lose weight.
Big boy weight right there.
But,
yeah.
But most of them is like they just want results. Mm-hmm. When for sure like there's something else that they need. There's like either you need to work on their structure and integrity. They need to drop weight before they can like start lifting heavy weights. Like so, how do you know when to kind of like change it up to where like to break up the monotony so they're not getting bored with like the basic fundamentals all the time?
Yeah, that's a great question, because the younger they are, the harder it is, because people want to be entertained. Because there are a lot of Insta trainers, a lot of people on Instagram who are training, watching, oh, that's a cool move. Let me try that one out on the client who just walked in the door, and they're having them balance on a Swiss ball and holding a Bosu, and like it's like, what are they doing? Where's the foundations? Where are the principles on that? I think nowadays you got to have the fundamentals mastered, and you also got to be able to entertain someone. I call it edutainment. Edutainment. You got to educate them. You got to entertain them. You got to give them what they want, but you got to give them what they need. It's that constant balance of keeping it basic and simple, but also making sure that they're staying involved mentally. Well, how do you do that? Number one, I think the biggest, most important thing with people today, when you look at behavioral science and psychology, is accountability. People need accountability. Sometimes we have these really amazing programs designed for, let's say, 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 10 weeks, and people don't follow them because they need the accountability, they need the motivation, especially right now. You need to stay motivated and inspired on that stuff. So the best thing that coaches and trainers right now can do is give them a little juice. I call it give them a little juice. The juice is the energy to get out there and get started. You know what the heaviest weight in this gym is? You know what it is? Anyone?
Life.
The front door.
To go in and out.
Heaviest weight in the gym is the front door, getting in. Now, normally when you're open, well, now you can't. But the hardest part is showing up. The hardest part is showing up, because once you're here, now it's me and you. And when I'm training you, when I'm coaching you, it's me and you, and it's the accountability, the motivation, the inspiration, me tapping into you. What do you want? What are your goals? And I'm going to hold you accountable. So it's not how many variations of squats or push-ups or bench press or core exercise that you can do. Yes, the programming is important. Yes, you do somewhat have to keep them entertained, but the most important thing is to hold them accountable that they're doing something. You're on the nutrition, and you combine all that, because if they're not being held accountable and they're not adhering to what you're asking them to do, then they're not going to have the results they want, and they'll soon fall off and will no longer be a client. They're not going to get the results they want. So when someone asks you, what kind of trainer are you? You say, I'm a results trainer. I'm a results-based trainer. I get results. It doesn't matter, because I don't train everyone the same. I don't train my athletes the same as I might train Betty or Donna, right? I keep the same energy, the same focus, but you know, I got to make sure that I'm leading them and coaching them with what they need. Make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Let's keep
Thank
going.
you.
Yeah, of course.
My main question to you, Todd, is with an industry right now that's oversaturated with, you know, gimmicks, fads, self-proclaimed gurus all over the place. How do you keep this place authentic and keep a unique experience for the clients to keep coming back? You know.
Well, we have our core values. We have what we stand for, right? We know what our training philosophy and methodology is about, on how we do that. Now, I give a lot of flexibility and autonomy to our coaches to train within that system, because in a industry full of gimmicks and fads and everything else that you mentioned, it's really easy to everyone want just bells and whistles and toys, thinking, hey, that's going to be the quick fix. I always say there are no quick fixes, right? If it took you a year to get the way you look, or 10 years, it's probably going to take you at least half that time to get to where you want to go. So if you want to lose 100 pounds and it took you a year or two, it might take you, 6+ months to get to where you want to go. But let's fall in love with that process of really making sure that we're setting goals that are realistic. Like, hey, if we're losing 2 to 3 pounds of fat per week and we're getting leaner and we're getting stronger mentally and physically, then we're learning to embrace the process of what that takes. So, again, I don't think you want to get caught up in the gimmicks and fads, because fads come and go. I think we always want to get back to the truth and the science of how do you change someone's life. How do you look when you look at exercise science, when you look at biomechanics and study how someone moves. Back to what Phillip was talking about, and Alex, is when you look at breaking down someone's body and you assess them, and we do in-body testing, and we look at where they're at. If you're going to do an FMS or you're going to screen somebody, where are they at, where are their limitations, and what do they need? Oh, you know what? I think you need some FST stretching and mobility work or body work in addition to doing some yoga work, as well as my training 2 to 3 times a week. Let's look at the comprehensive 360-degree approach, because I think that's important in a world right now that wants quick fixes. I would say there are no quick fixes. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take effort. And I think people appreciate that and respect that when you tell them, like, listen, there's no quick. I think deep down we all know there's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. You always, it's like when you start a business. I always say when you start a business, typically your revenues are half what you think they're going to be, and your expenses are double what you think they're going to be. It's the same thing with exercise and working out. Yeah. Typically, you have a goal. You want to lose 50 pounds. Like, well, you might lose 25 pounds, and it's going to take you double the time that you wanted it to do. So I think that's good. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had another one.
Yep.
What are some of the frustrations with you being a fitness entrepreneur that you deal with, or you have dealt with over your career?
Now we're getting deep. Now you want to know the juice. Yeah. What are my frustrations as a trainer or
fitness entrepreneur, trainer, all the above? Just things that you've dealt with over the course of your career that,
I honestly would say this. One of the things that frustrates me the most is when a trainer says they want to be a great trainer, but I want greatness for them more than they want it for themselves. Meaning this, they tell me they want to be great, but then they tell me they want weekends off. They're only going to work till 4 o'clock. I'm like, wait a second. You told me you want to be great, but you want weekends off? And you're starting off and you want to put food on the table, but you want a pay raise? No. If you want to be great, and I mean great, like I'm talking like you're going to change lives, and I'm measuring greatness by the impact that you create, by the number of people's lives who you're changing, which typically relates to your finances. But the more lives you change, the more money you're probably going to make. But you tell me you want to be great, but then you're asking because that you've been here for 6 months or a year or 2 years, and you're at 20 sessions a week, that you now start don't want to work weekends, and you don't want to do this or that. To me, what frustrates me is when someone says they want to get to the next level, but they want to stop working as much as they are because they want to work smarter. I get working smarter, but I don't get when you say you want to achieve a certain level and you haven't really tapped into your full level and you start scaling back. What does it come down to again? It comes down to how hard are you willing to work and grind to really get what you want. Now, if that's training, it's training. If it's writing a book or it's doing a podcast or it's doing speaking, maybe you're honing your craft. tell me what you're doing, because there's nothing. I don't care what industry. If you want to be great in something, you want to be a great pro athlete, it's not like a 4 or 5 day a week kind of job. It's all in 7 days a week. You are obsessed on being great at what it is. It doesn't mean you're training physically 7 days a week, but it might mean you're training 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and you're doing recovery work. You're working on your business. You're working on your mindset. You're working on yourself, on those things. So I'd say that's one of my biggest frustrations on that. And the other thing, I guess, is that's more the trainer side is right now, one of the things that frustrates me right now with clients is how scared they are. Is the mindset of fear. Yeah. How it's paralyzing our country, it's paralyzing our world, how scared they are. It's frustrating to know that some people are not working out right now because they're scared. Yeah. I'm like, gosh, that's the answer right now. Working out is the answer to get your mind right. Working out's the way to build your immunity. Working out right now is the way you build your strength of your body and your mind right now. It frustrates me to know that there are people who are staying inside all the time in fear of what is being fed to them by outside sources. So they're living in fear, and it's paralyzing them. It's actually making them unhealthy, and it's frustrating me so much to the point like I want to shake them. I'm like, gosh, listen, I know what's going on in the outside world, that it's serious. Yeah. It's serious stuff, and we don't want to mess around with it. But the way we combat that is not by living in fear. It's by making sure that we do exercise and train. We can get outside and train. We can go to the studio. Man, there's some great training going on as we speak right now downstairs in the parking lot. People are 6 feet apart. They're getting after it. They're smiling. They feel euphoric. They feel empowered. They feel like they can conquer the world. Our kids, it frustrates me to know that kids are in their homes right now watching playing 4+ hours of video games and on their phones and all this stuff. And guess what? We're going to have a major pandemic on our hands in the next couple months with kids who are depressed, who are down, who aren't playing in sports, who aren't socializing. And it kills me. It frustrates me to know that, hey, we can still train these kids. We can still train these adults. There's ways to do it that we don't have to feel paralyzed and fearful of what the outside world is telling us, to not do anything. We can still do things. We can still exercise, and exercise and training will always be the answer to help get the mind right. Sorry to go on that rant, but
no, absolutely.
You asked.
I honestly feel that you and the whole staff, your entire staff, just being here for a short time, you guys have done a phenomenal job with people come in here and there is no fear. And I see people come in here day one getting, going through their initial assessments with Jeff or Jeff Bristol or anybody on your staff, and there is no fear. They're excited to work out. They're excited to take the next step. So just to,
Well, thank you. There's been a lot of systems that are put in place. It takes a lot of work. So any of you that listening right now, if you are a trainer, you're a coach, you're in a business right now, we have taken massive steps to make sure that we are safe, and that when we're exercising and training, that there are systems from sanitizing stations to keeping socially I call it physical distancing, 6 feet apart as best you can, wearing masks as best you can when you're inside, although we're not doing indoor training right now. And here's the thing, fear is real. And everyone's got a certain amount of fear, whether it's fear of opening a business, expanding a business, closing a business, selling a business. If it's fear of getting a virus, getting a flu, having a heart attack, having a stroke. There's fear everywhere. The key, though, is not letting fear dominate your dome. You can't let fear dominate your dome. What you have to do is make sure that you take that fear and you literally either flick it off your shoulder, you punch it in the face, and you say, cool, I acknowledge you, but I'm not going to let you dominate me. And then you take that fear and you use it as fuel so you can take steps in faith to know that what you're doing ultimately is going to help your body, mind, and your spirit. So that's this relationship with fear right now that we have that's very, very important, that we use it as fuel. Janille, question.
Yes.
Last one.
All right. So this is a real life scenario situation. I was literally asked this morning. What would you advise a parent or a child that's the parent, they're a single parent, their child is a tween, they're 12 or under, and one parent has to be at work working all the time, and the other parent, in between, the child is going to the other parent, and the parents is the key, the main parent, the mom, the dad, is noticing there's a difference with the child. Like the child is being withdrawn. They don't really want to, not being sociable, not want to go outdoors and hang out or play or anything. And the parent, they're being a little bit frustrated, not really frustrated, but at the same time, they don't understand, they don't know how to deal with, handle the situation of, what do I do with this child? How do I keep this child motivated? How do I keep myself motivated with everything that's going on right now? What advice do you give the parent to keep them going, keep them motivated? And what advice for that child to say, look, this is what we can do. This is how we could do things. You're not socializing right now. You don't have your friends around you, but here is something that you can do. What would you?
Great question, Janille. Great question on that. Wow, the old parenting question. I actually just did episode 106. We did this one's just for the kids. I talked about parenting and how hard it is right now. It's the most difficult job that most of us do. If you are a parent, you can empathize with that. I guess the first question I'd say is, parent, make sure you're taking care of yourself first. Because if we're not good, we can't be a good parent, right? So sometimes we feel guilty because we're exercising for 30 minutes or an hour, and we're feeling guilty that we're doing that early in the morning, or we're not making the kid breakfast or lunch or dinner. We have to take care of ourselves first. The second thing, it is about time. And I don't want to sound rhetorical about time, but the bottom line is this: kids right now have it tough. If you're an adult, you can process some of this, even though it frustrates you. But kids, think about whether they're 7 or 8 years old, whether they're 12, 15, 20, like it's really hard for kids right now to be in virtual classrooms in school and not be able to play sports and have these physical outlets. Kids need to move. Yes. Kids need exercise. And if they're not getting that, sooner or later, this subtle cloud comes over the house, this dark cloud, and you don't really know how to put a finger on what's going on. It's very subtle, and it creeps up, and you get this brain fog of like, what's going on? Well, it comes back to the exercise and the training part of like, man, parents, take your kids, take your kids to either work. You talk about Jeff brings his kid to work. Like, yes. I love when we have kids and right, like, so the kids are around physical activity. Get out there, parents, and work out with your kids. A couple months ago, I created a program called Get Yoked. Get Yoked is a program that kids and parents using body weight could train together and work out. Why? Because in the middle of the pandemic then, I wanted to make sure that kids were moving. Now, it's even more important that kids are exercising and moving because now it's been 3, 4, 5, 6 months that this has been going on. It's even more important. The bottom line is this: parents, we got to make sure we get time with the kids, and quality time where it's not on the phone. There is literally scientific research that shows when you are on a phone for hours and hours, it rewires the brain, not in a good way. So if these kids are getting 4+ hours a day, which many of them are, most of them are, it rewires the brain, and that can lead to stress, anxiety, comparison syndrome, where all you're looking at is everyone else's stuff on Snap, on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever it may be. And it rewires the brain in not a good way. We got to make sure we get the kids away from the phone at least for an hour a day and get out there and play. Tom House and I talked about that on a previous episode about the power of play, and whether it be sport, whether it be exercising, whether it be go for a walk, go to the beach, go in the mountains, go to your community trail, get out in nature, because nature is healing. Nature's healing. And I think it's a really important aspect right now, Janille, when you ask that question about parenting. This is the most important time parents can have, because we don't want our kids inside. The dilemma is, well, wait, I got to go back to work. Kids are in virtual school. How do I do that? It's going to come down to the fact that there's going to be an hour. I don't know if that's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if it's 5 o'clock when you get home from work, if it's early in the morning. Kids must move. It's mandatory. And the time we get on weekends, right, is important that we get quality time. Not with you on your Instagram or Facebook and them on their tablets, but it's time away from the technology so we can just be real with that stuff. So I hope that helps. Parents, hey, I'm in it with you, right? I've got a 17, 15, and 12. I work with a lot of kids, but this is like real stuff, and this is really, really important. So I'll open it up to any final questions that you have. If you didn't ask any questions, now's the final go round.
It's not so much a question, but just to add on to what she said. Like us as parents, we only have one shot at this.
Yep.
So we gotta do whatever it takes, to help our kids out. Even if it means like it's easy for us to say like you gotta get to know your kids, but sometimes you might have to ask for help, right? So if you're trying to figure out like, so what do I need to do? Like my kid is being distant, like they're not, like try to get through to them. And then as soon as you get through to them, and then when they tell you what they need, and then if you know someone like a friend that could help, ask them. Yeah, I mean, if your kid is in there, like if your kid is hanging out in the room and then it's just this dark
disconnected,
room, disconnected.
Yep.
And then when you talk to them, it's like, oh, I want to go outside, but then all my friends, it's like, they can't be outside.
That's right.
Then take your kid to the park and make new friends. Like, just be like, okay, we'll play, but you just got to do whatever it takes. Sacrifice a lot for your kids.
I love that. And here's the thing. I think it's a great reminder to tell our kids, because they can't process this as well as most adults. This we will get through. This too soon shall pass. Now, that concept of in 6 months or a year from now seems like it's a lifetime away. But the reminder to kids is like, listen, we will get through this. Together as a family, we will get through this. But we got to exercise. We got to move. We got to pray. We got to stay together. We got to get outside. We got to have our social network. And listen, if it's so bad, get professional help. Get professional help. If it's really bad and someone's really down, there's a lot of professionals out there right now that can help. There are psychologists, there are psychiatrists who can help right now. Now, I talked about exercise and socialization, real things that can help that. But if it gets to the point where there is a real chemical imbalance or depression, then we need professional help. And that's a sign of strength by the parent to recognize, I need to bring in an expert. I need to bring in a professional on that. And I think we're gonna see more and more of that as there's not as much live sport, exercise, school. So we have to really make sure that we take care of these kids. And I think that's a great point, Phillip. So, man, good stuff today. Any final questions? Everyone good?
Last mention, after hearing all this parenting advice, man, I feel like I'm ready to be a parent myself.
No, you're not. No. You're young. Come on, intern. Final wrap-ups, final statements. If you were to give our listeners today a little voice of wisdom, you have 30 seconds I want to hear your best Fitness Quest 10 graduation motivation to our listeners. So you each get 30 seconds. Fire my friends up. All these mind right maniacs are walking by that. Hey, TD, that was a pretty good episode. I want to hear you fire the world up right now. Light them up with some inspiration.
Okay. I don't know about lighting everybody up with inspiration. I'll do my best, though. I think for everybody, as you mentioned several times, I wanted to jump in a little earlier, but now is the perfect time. Everything's wrapped up. You mentioned that a lot, especially right now, everybody feels like the world's falling apart, this and that. Now, like I was talking about, I picked up a new hobby in hockey. Take this time and maybe pick up a new hobby if it's working out or even if it's stretching, something related to physical activity. Pick it up, give it a shot. Like Todd was saying, whether it's coming in here or now they have so many different things online. Listen to a podcast, watch old Zoom meetings, try something online, spend 10, 15 minutes of your day at night, in the morning, whatever time, like he was mentioning. You need
30 seconds right there. Wisdom from intern Alex. Intern Phillip, you got it. 30 seconds. Light us up.
No matter what pain you're going through, time heals. Just give yourself time. Be patient. And always love yourself. Be your biggest fan.
Wow, I like that right there.
Thank you.
Man. Josh.
For everybody out there going through the struggles of working out, thinking they're hitting roadblocks or anything like that, just know that every drop of sweat you see hitting the ground is a step in the right direction. You're moving forward, and you should be proud of everything that you're doing. So, thanks.
Wow. Janille.
I'll say get loony. Sometimes you just got to get loony. Going out there, San Diego is so awesome. Don't take advantage of the trails. Go out there. If you can't get into the gym, like most of us can, or some people aren't able to, go on these trails. Grab a buddy, grab a trail buddy, go on a hiking trail, hiking buddy, and just go do something. But move, get out there with the kids, and just live. Just be good. Just be grateful, and just be excited every time you wake up. Every morning you wake up, and just do something. That's it.
Wow. Yeah. There you have it. Amazing wisdom from our 4 graduating interns here at Fitness West End. And don't forget, they all need jobs. So if you're hiring, right, we've got 4 amazing people who understand our culture. If we were hiring 4 people, we would hire all 4 of them right now. So I can't give them enough props on the amazing job. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done. I know the world is going to be a better place because of you all being in it. So continue to bring that impact and everything you do. My friends today know this. I hope that you got better today. The last several months, these 4 folks, Alex, Josh, Phillip, and Janille, have been at Fitness Quest 10 in the craziest of times, getting better. There is opportunity to get better right now. Remember that. There is opportunity even in the midst of despair, to get better. So make sure today and this week as you go forth and that you get better with that mentality of 1% better every day, that you use the wisdom that you heard today on this podcast and you go share it with 5 friends and you say, you know what? I'm committed to getting better today. Each and every day I'm going to get better. And if you do that, I promise you, the world will be a better place. My friends, today, go out there and train hard, eat right, live inspired, and don't forget to create impact.